Really three really big excuses that it comes down to when you're trying to eat enough protein. The first big excuse is usually that you can't get enough protein in the day. The second excuse is that protein is really expensive to buy compared to other foods, and that's true. We'll discuss that. And usually the third thing that people say is that they have to cut out all the good stuff, like a lot of potatoes and French fries and pasta. All three of these reasons for not being able to get enough protein have really easy solutions. So today in this video, I'm going to cover all of them so that, Mason, you don't have any excuses when we talk next week. So for the first thing, not being able to get enough protein in the day. That is usually going to be caused by a few really basic things. All of the snacks that you can get everywhere don't really prioritize protein, again, because it's cheaper to sell potato chips than it is to sell jerky. So a lot of the stuff that you're going to find at the gas station and fast food places aren't going to prioritize protein. So in order to prioritize your own protein, what you have to do is plan out your day in advance. So go into your food tracker, MyFitnessPal, whatever that you use, and go ahead and log all your protein for the day, either in the morning or the night before. So to do that, what you do is go in and set up what you're gonna have for breakfast, set up what you're gonna have for lunch, and what you're gonna have for dinner. So in the breakfast, your eggs or omelet or yogurt and granola, something like that. Your lunch, pick out what your protein is gonna be. Are you gonna have a burger? Are you gonna have a sandwich? Are you gonna have some kind of chicken, beef? Pick your protein and then do the same thing for dinner. That covers the three big ones. Between just your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should be hitting at least 100 grams of protein. So depending on your goals, we've got about another 100 grams that we need to get in for the day. And 100 grams of protein is a lot easier to hit than the whole 200 grams. So by going ahead and logging that into your day, you can go ahead and start picking out your snacks and maybe another extra meal somewhere in the day to bump you up over that 200 grams of protein line. When you've done that, you look at your other macros for your carbs and your fats, you're gonna be way under on your total calories. So you've got the whole rest of the day to figure out what you wanna eat. So going ahead and logging all your protein ahead of time with knowing what you're gonna eat, you're confident going into the day knowing you're gonna hit your protein goal. And then the rest of the day is kind of yours to fill in with other snacks. It really does make a big difference on the stress of your day, knowing that you already know where your protein is gonna come from for the day. Getting it all planned out ahead of time saves you from getting to the end of the night and realizing, oh, I need to eat another 50 or 60 grams of protein, which is kind of hard to do when you've only got an hour or two, maybe three before bed. And of course, everybody knows what you're supposed to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your eggs, your beef, your chicken, stuff like that. Myself personally, and I recommend you too, stock up on your main big proteins. Your beef, pork, chicken, buy that in bulk and either cook it all at once for the week, or you can freeze it and cook it throughout the week, whatever works best for you. Not everybody is going to be a stellar meal planner, like right off the beginning, but over time you figure out what you like and you figure out how to get into a rhythm. The second problem with getting enough protein is that it can be really expensive. And protein being expensive is true because at the store you're inundated with all kinds of protein powders, the Quest bars, the Quest chips, the protein everything. And it's all over the place and it's really pricey. Just remember that in the beginning, you're not a bodybuilder. You've got a really simple goal and you don't need to get all the fancy stuff to reach that simple goal. So leave the Isopure and the Whey Isolate and the casein powders to the professionals for now. If you do want to get a protein powder to supplement what you're having, go for it, but it shouldn't be what you're relying on. And protein can get even more expensive when you're forced to improvise because of work or family, and you have to eat out or stop at a gas station and go buy that really fancy fitness bar anyway. I know. There you go. I talked to Mason. He said things are going good. We checked his progress, and he lost 3 pounds that first week. A lot to lose in a week, but water weight. But he said he was having trouble getting protein.
Here we are. We're running, baby. We're gonna hit that mark. We're going skydiving in July 2025, baby. Let's do it.
Now, you might think, just go buy a bunch of protein powder, a bunch of Quest bars. I think they even make Quest chips now, all kinds of the protein stuff. You don't have to do that. That's really expensive. And you don't have to cut out all your goodies either. I can do this one-handed. You got yours? That was not closed. Okay, so building off of planning out your day in advance, Instead of having to go after all those expensive protein snacks and the fitness brands and all that stuff, you can instead have larger portions of what you're having for lunch or what you're having for dinner. Just making sure that you're having the protein and not necessarily more of the carbs. Honestly, here's a good way of thinking about all of the fitness brand stuff, the protein bars and protein powders and that kind of stuff. It's supplementary, it's in the name, it's extra, it's for when you have a real, true emergency. Most of the time, you should be planning out your day in advance so that you don't have to resort to those kind of things. Logging everything into your journal ahead of time is going to keep you from having to resort to those emergency options. Convenience stores and gas stations aren't really that bad if you know what to look for, because these days they do have all kinds of stuff. Just make sure that when you're grabbing a snack, it's got at least 10-15 grams of protein in it. You want to stay away from stuff that only has a gram or two or nothing in it. And if you do that, you'll hit your protein. Okay, so the last thing that people usually have a problem with is having to cut out all of the good stuff. Your chips, French fries, all that good stuff, right? The thing is, you can have all of that, you just have to have it within reason, right? So instead of having as much of it as you want, plan out your day, of course, plan out your protein, and as long as you're hitting your protein, you know how many calories you have left in the day. Just don't go over that. Of course, try to adhere to and stick to your macros, try to get the right amount of fats, try to get the right amount of carbs, but at the end of the day, just make sure that you're not exceeding that top calorie cap. This concept is basically the whole way that Weight Watchers works. They assign their points to different kinds of foods, and then you count up how many points you have in the day. Well, with your system, we just want to make sure that you eat enough protein. That's the main goal. So you plan out your protein, and then just don't exceed the calories. And as long as you do that, you're good to go. Mason also mentioned his sweet tooth and that he was worried about binging out on a bunch of candy. And that's where I told him, figure out a way to plan ahead for it. So instead of just going and getting a big bag of candy or the king size Snickers, get the regular size, or get the bag, get home, and portion it out into little 200 calorie baggies. Seems like a lot, but it sure beats going overboard and having the whole gigantic bag of 2,000 calories or something. Doing it this way and giving yourself some of what you're used to, you're able to push that binge day back. And if you never do have a binge day, congratulations, you've done what most people that try to lose weight never can do, and not binged. But if you do break and binge, it's okay. Everybody does it, or most everybody. Just get back on your plan the next day. Inevitably, you're gonna have to go out to eat at a restaurant. Just make sure that you follow your plan ahead for the restaurant by going ahead and looking up their menu online and logging what you can to make sure it fits your macros and your plan. Just remember that when you're logging, if you have to estimate a food, underestimate the protein so that you get enough protein, and overestimate the calories so that you don't have double calories on something by accident. Again, remember, you're new at this. Just try your best and remember that practice makes perfect, and doing a little of something is better than doing none of it. So before you decide to just send it on the chips and salsa, remember, they still count. Concepts like that, doing a little of something instead of none of something, I found help a lot when it comes to making decisions throughout the day. So I've started writing more and more of them down and discussing them in a little bit more detail in a weekly newsletter that I'm releasing every Monday. I'd love for you to sign up for that and let me know what you think about it. I'll be back next week to let you know how me and Mason are doing as we lose enough weight so that we can go skydiving next summer. If you're not sure what that's about, go watch the first video. See you later.